Hey everybody, I understand that some of you might have some questions about the case study, so I wanted to try to explain it a little better. I'm looking at the syllabus at the bottom of page 4, and your case study is kind of like two parts. So we're going to talk about the case study first. What you're going to do is conduct an interview with three different people, and the three people should all know the one student or individual that has autism, because ultimately we're trying to get three different points of view about the educational planning and programming for this student that has autism. So you could interview a special ed and a general ed teacher, maybe someone there that's you could grab hold of would be a speech language pathologist or a therapist, maybe the principal. You're just looking for three different people that can give you three different ideas or points of view about the educational programming for that student with autism. And you'll see that's explained right here. The purpose of the interviews is to gather information from different sources to determine their experiences about educational programming for the student with autism. And so what I want you to do is to develop probably 4 or 5 open-ended questions. So those are discussion questions. And I want you to send them to me so I can approve them. Once I approve them, you then take those 5 questions and you look at and plan for, when I ask this question, how are they likely going to answer, and then what's a good follow-up question to their response. Those questions are something that you're going to come up with without my approval. I only want to approve the first 5 questions, but then you need to develop follow-up questions to their responses. So then you're going to take all three interviewers' comments and you're going to identify common themes, things that are strengths, things that have been weaknesses. You'll look for ideas that run true through all three of the interviews. Okay, so once you do that, you kind of have all that in your brain and you feel pretty good about it. Then I want you to look up 2 kind of recent articles, no later than 2013. And so I want you to look for peer-reviewed articles, not just something off of Google, but like a real article. And you can even email David Brown, D.O. Brown at daltonstate.edu, and he can help you find some articles if you need to. But what you're going to be looking for are articles that are related to the educational placement of kids with autism or the social level or of kids with autism or behavioral concerns. And what you're going to find when you start reading the literature that's out there is it's very difficult to talk about educational placement without bringing in behavioral concerns and social level of the child. So you're just going to look for 2 articles that address those themes. So you just pick from those themes, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your interviews and you're going to think about what you've read from the literature and you're going to blend those ideas together and talk about the educational programming or social level or behavioral concerns for that kid with autism. Does that make sense? So right here is the big idea. Synthesize, fuse together, integrate all this information from your interviews and from your literature, and you're going to connect them together. Okay? Does that make sense? So what you're reading in the literature really is what's happening, or is really it's not what's happening in the school system where you are, or in the county or the state, or whichever way you want to talk about it. After you write that, you're going to then create a screencast-o-matic, which is what I'm doing now, or some other kind of screen capture programming. And you're going to tell me about the student. So you're not going to tell me about the paper, you're going to tell me about the student. And so that's right here in this section about the candidates will create a presentation. And so your presentation is going to be on the student's strengths and weaknesses, his passions, his verbal level, his placement on the spectrum, or anything else that you would like to share. So that's going to be a link that you'll copy and paste to the top of your case study. And then when you submit it to LiveText, you're going to submit your paper, and you're going to also take that link and you're going to paste it in LiveText where it says you can paste the URL. And if you have any questions about how to do that, let me know, or ask Randy Ware and he can walk you through that. If you, and I know you will, have specific questions, okay, but really, what exactly do you want to know? Well, here's what it's going to look like. You're not going to give me the school's name, like the real name or anything. You're not going to reveal anybody's name, but I do want you to tell me a little bit about what's going on with those students. Recognizing too that confidentiality is really, really important. And so in your report, I want you to evidence that you understand how important confidentiality is. And so you're going to emphasize with the interviewers that this is a course assignment and you're not going to reveal anything. You're going to tell me in your paper what you did. For example, there's going to be one page that tells how you explain the interview to people, including your welcome, terms that you defined prior to the interview, the specific questions asked, and the pseudonyms for each interview with their position title after the name. And then the next part is you're going to describe your findings and synthesis and make connections between your interview and the articles. And so those are explicit connections. So you'll have in-text citations supporting comments or themes that come from your interview. And then conclude with a notable reflection. You should have probably at least 5 pages, but possibly a little more than that. Any references that you use, of course, use APA, Times New Roman, double spaced. You don't need an abstract and you don't need a running head. So bottom line is you're going to take 3 people that know one kid that has autism or an individual. You're going to interview them and asking about this one kid, and you're going to be looking for educational planning, behavioral concerns that are addressed in educational planning, or social issues that come with educational planning. Those are our 3 themes that we're going to focus on. And then you're going to read 2 articles that deal with those themes. And then you're going to take your interview, you're going to take your articles, and you're going to synthesize that information. So that means you're going to blend that information together. You're not critically analyzing it, you're blending the information together. So from the interviews, I learned that, or this is reported that, and then in an article written by Schumann Baum, also support the findings that existed in the school system. Does that make any kind of sense to you? This is a brainy, a think about kind of report. So it's a little better than just a report. And it's one that I think once you start to do it, you'll see that it really does go together very well. Again, learning is all about a challenge. This one is going to be something that you need to think about, and everybody's is going to be different. If you have any questions or problems with it, of course, let me know. And if you need anything in the class, of course, let me know. Y'all did a great job again at the conference. Please keep sending in Dr. Schutt's essays. The first 2 that I've gotten have been fantastic. Y'all are doing a great job in the course. Let me know if you need anything, and I hope this recording helped. If it didn't and I only muddied the waters, well then please let me know that. Y'all have a great day.